Hey everyone, I'm Piyush. I'm moderating this great BitVM panel, which I guess everyone is excited about. I'm head of ecosystem at Bima and would request our panelists to introduce themselves and their project.
Okay. Sorry, this is Stefan from the God Network, and God Network is a Bitcoin native Zk app and built on the Zk MIPS and the BitVM2 protocol right now. So God Network has implemented its decentralized sequencer network and built the sustainable yield model on the decentralized sequencer network. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm Yovela. I'm co-founder of Fiamma. So we build BitVM2 technology. So we are not just building like the underlying BitVM2 bridges that allow Bitcoin to transfer to all different ecosystems in the most trustless and seamless way. We're also building application on top so that we can abstract away all the bridging experience so that we can allow people to deposit native BTC and earn, just like, on the RWA DeFi opportunities in different ecosystems just in one click.
Hello everyone, I'm Hanzhi. I'm one of the co-founders of Nubit. And at Nubit, we are building Bitcoin Thunderbolt, which is the Bitcoin boosting network for native assets, trading, and verification.
Hi everyone, my name is Zhixi Zhang. I work for Bob as the BD ecosystem lead. Bob is a Bitcoin L2. We're built on OP Stack. We're a Bitcoin secure chain working with Babylon, and very excited to join this lovely panel.
So I think BitVM2 is kind of new frontier for like Bitcoin programmability and doing computation off chain. What do you guys feel like the technical differences of BitVM2 looks like, and for any like developer, how it looks like for creating dev tooling and all that stuff? Would like to have your perspectives around that.
Yeah, we just released our good BitVM2 white paper just weeks ago, and we have some modification on that BitVM2 protocol, the original one. So that's I think the difference from for our protocol. The first point is as we know we need to for zero up, you need to actually there may be their forks. There's some forks for the roll-up chain, so that operator may carry on some double spending or tag on when he kick off the reimbursements. So what's the root cause of that? The root cause is that there are no solution that to commit the public inputs for the proof that operator used to kick off the reimbursements. So we propose a solution based on the big ladder client protocol and use the decentralized sequences public key set as the public inputs, and then we verify the the consensus, and then verify the block validated proof, and then we can verify that the layer 2 the operator have the valid proof of its reimbursements. This is the first point, and the second point is to improve the efficiency of the challenging process. We have randomized challenge selection mechanism, which means we are not any challenge. We use the VRF, like the verifiable random function, to select the challenge, and then the challenge would need to challenge or not. If he doesn't challenge, submit his challenge, the next one would comes up, and if the next one challenge successfully, the challenge need to be slashed. So this is the second point, and we also have some other enhancements on the original BitVM2. So yeah, please, if anybody interested in that, please check out our white paper. Thank you.
Yeah, Yovela.
Yeah, so for BitVM2 informations, there are like a couple like at Fiamma. So at the a higher level. So we are building BitVM bridge from Bitcoin to different ecosystems. So unlike there are some other peers who are working on, building the bridge directly from Bitcoin to their own L2 or like their chain. So like this is like a bit difference. And the second is like in terms of BitVM2 bridge itself, there are also many minor differences. The first is that we can allow for deposit and withdrawal of any amount. And I know that there is some implementation focused on allowing 10 BTC deposit and withdrawal. And then also in terms of the challenger as well, our challenging is like permissionless, so anyone can become a challenger. And then we know that there are some team they're working on a more permissioned challenger setup because of the light client design that they adopt. And then there are also other things, including like how we can decrease the collateral and also decrease the cost to execute the entire challenge process. So for us, we would have a way to allow operator to post the data during the assert transaction, like a challenge process, to like another chain, like Ethereum, for instance. And then if they don't post it, we could slash them directly, on Ethereum and also or Bitcoin. So in this case, we can also, largely reduce the on-chain footprint on Bitcoin. So we can, after the assert transaction, we can allow the Bitcoin network to directly settle dispute. So in this case, we also, greatly enhance the efficiency of the challenge process.
For us, our main focus is on how can we ensure that the BitVM is actually secure. So BitVM is a very complex program. Its architecture is highly non-trivial. So to ensure that there's no bug inside the BitVM, we have built a symbolic execution tool, which is essentially using form verification to verify some of the key Bitcoin scripts inside BitVM. And as for progress, we have published the paper, the write-up for that tool. And as a push button tool, which means you can read it by yourself. And we have already verified some core functionalities inside the BitVM script. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. It's very exciting to see that there's, like so many teams building on BitVM. I guess like this is a really good question because the purpose for us building BitVM2 is very similar. We want more trustless ways to bring Bitcoin to other ecosystem. And I guess like actually we have a strategic partnership with Fiamma, so we actually launched a testnet together. So people can already try bridging Bitcoin through Fiamma testnet to Bob. But like you can also do the same with like other chain as well. But what make it different for like BitVM on Bob is the fact that we get our finality from Babylon. So just for anyone who is not very familiar with the Babylon technology, Bob worked with Babylon in two very unique ways. One is we get the economic finality from Babylon to prove that the transactions is final on Bob. There's only one Bob chain. And what's very interesting about BitVM is like the BitVM logic actually allows you to also tap into Babylon and attest with Babylon finality provider that Bob chain is the canonical chain that all of these transactions is going through. So I guess like there's a lot of similarity between all the bridges, but I just wanted to point out Babylon, what is special about our ecosystem.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, you guys are like into directly to Babylon, to BitVM, to optimism combination. So it's crazy to see it together. But yeah, I think when it comes to BitVM2, like optimization is something which everyone wants in terms of computation. So how you guys are optimized, or if you want to shout out to any other project, how it's optimized in terms of security and other stuff. So maybe you can start.
Yeah, of course. When we launch the BitVM testnet, it's easy to find that they operate with welcome. Okay, yeah. So when we launched the BitVM2 testnet, it's easy to find that the pre-sign and the pre-sign of the operator and the community would test maybe will cost maybe 2 or 4 maybe 4 cores because when we use the 4 cores instance for that. Sometimes it's get panic even. So that means we still need a lot of efforts on optimize the script size of the including the also transaction and disprove transaction. And meanwhile we also did something to to simplify the incentive system, incentive parts of the BitVM2. So like we move the slash to incentive and maybe and a slash to layer 2 and make it more simple to challenger and to make it more exactly to give the rewards to the real challenger. So and meanwhile we also did something to make to improve the efficiency of the proof generation for the operator. So basically those kind of one we are focusing right now to for the BitVM2.
Interesting. I mean, we have one more guest in, so I would like to pass Mike to introduce himself and about his project.
Hi, my name is Robin Linus. I'm the creator of BitVM, I guess, and I'm working in the BitVM Alliance with many of the companies sitting here on stage. And I'm deep into BitVM research, and I'm very excited about scaling Bitcoin.
I mean, who else you want when we are talking about BitVM? So we were discussing about the optimization and computation, mostly doing off-chain or whatever the transaction happen in how it can happen in minimal fashion. So what's your take on that?
Yeah, well, the hot topic now is actually replacing BitVM with gobbled circuits, quote unquote BitVM3. So that's the very interesting topic that all the researchers are now excited about. The general idea is that you can use, I'm not sure. Probably most people have not heard of gobbled circuits yet. Has anyone heard of gobbled circuits except for these guys? So it's actually a cryptographic primitive that has been invented for privacy things, but it turns out you can use it for computational integrity. It's such that these operators, they would like gobble a circuit of a snark verifier, and then during pegout they would commit to a proof. They would publish a proof, and then anyone can take that proof and verify it in that gobbled circuit. And if that proof is false, then they learn a secret, which essentially is a fraud proof. If you know that secret, then that means the operator lied. And this drastically simplifies the on-chain communication that we have to do, or the on-chain complexity of things. It would mean like currently we have these assert transactions, and they are 4 megabytes to assert to the proof and to the trace of the computation, and that would reduce to like 70 kilobytes, I think. And also we have this proof transactions, and they are also 4 megabytes currently, and they would reduce to essentially 20 bytes. So it's really in total order of like 1000x or something improvement, in particular for the capital cost, because currently the operator has to put up a collateral and they have to lock it for the whole time that they are operators. And this is one of the main capital costs of BitVM currently, and that would essentially vanish. It would be reduced to pretty much zero. And that would be a huge improvement. And that is also possible without any kind of soft fork or something.
Super interesting. Yovela, you want to go next?
Yeah. So just like building on top of the gobble circuit discussion, we've been, having like a closed door event like yesterday, just to talk about the Gabo circuit. And then for us, like we know that like the biggest issue for current BitVM2 is like the assert transaction is so big, as mentioned by Robin. And then for us, like we tackle this issue by actually not just optimizing the verifier itself, but we actually split it into more chunks. And then we can post, you know, during a search transaction, we can post this data on the other chain, like it could be Ethereum or another. And then honestly speaking, you know, the chunk could be like much tinier. And then so in this case, our chunk is actually smaller than 400 kilobyte each. And then the key to ensure that is that we need to have a slasher mechanism to make sure that the operator actually posts, you know, this data on the other chain. And then so in this case, we can still make sure that, you know, the whole process is like efficient. And also we have like a permissionless challenger setup. So that's why, you know, for the Gabo circuit, it's definitely like a huge improvement in terms of like efficiency. But the drawback would be that you definitely need to have a like set up the challenger with operator in the beginning. So which means that we would make the challenging like permissioned. So for us, we are also thinking about ways to, you know, how can we ensure that we can add, you know, challenger whenever we want, so that we can, you know, just try to maximize the number of challenger and also to, you know, minimize the trust assumption in the entire setup.
For us, our optimization regarding our focus is essentially on security and developer friendliness. So for security, like to make verification easier, you might need to change or modify the implementation, and which will essentially make the implementation harder. So what we are working on is DSL that can essentially like it's verification friendly and make it easier for developers to try out new ideas. So for now, if you want to implement the code script of BitVM, it takes months and then like manual effort. So for us, we are trying to make an automated compiler that can essentially turn your high-level DSL directly into the optimized scripts, which will make like the whole process easier. So
yeah, so probably I would just go from a much less technical perspective. As everyone was mentioning, how, you know, like setting up the network of operators and challenger is one of the hardest thing to do for scaling BitVM, and, you know, get the make sure that the whole system is actually trust minimized. So I think a lot of the work will actually go into how do we find operators and people, just players who are honest, who is actually aligned with the ethos and would want to join this ecosystem, and have as many as possible to ensure that we have a large network of nodes and people to challenge and secure this.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if in BitVM3 with Gabble circuit, someone came up with more optimized fashion. So, okay, you can set up the computation stuff, operator stuff, like permissionless as well. So, because you already have many versions of BitVM2, and why not BitVM3? But yeah, coming to next question. So maybe when it comes to the verification, what's your guys' thought that how exactly BitVM2 can handle verification for fraud proofs and you know, any other thing whenever it comes to like existing rollups built on top of BitVM2? What's your take on that? Maybe we can start with you.
I will actually, honestly, I think I would much rather hear from Robin,
Sure.
given that he's like right there.
Yeah.
I didn't understand the question, to be honest.
So, I mean, in general, like verification is there, like BitVM2 based verification is there. But for existing rollups, like how exactly you make it more fraud proof, and like how you feel like it make it more fraud proof, or any other implementation of BitVM2 can make it fraud proof. What's your perspective there? Or any rollup is doing something like that?
I'm still not sure if I understood the question. Like, anybody can be a challenger, right?
Yeah.
So anybody can verify what's posted on chain, and if it's incorrect, they can challenge the operator. So I guess that's quite a strong security guarantee from that point of view. But I guess I didn't understand the question. Maybe someone else can answer, and then I understand it.
He's asking how can we enable Bitcoin to verify ZK proof optimistically?
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah, you can explain or.
How we enable an optimistic ZKP verifier on Bitcoin. I mean, that's BitVM2. That's the. Oh, and how that works. And I see. Okay, sorry. So the rough idea is that the operator who claims, like he makes a claim, he says, hey, this is a valid proof. And he also commits to the execution trace of the validation. So he himself actually runs off-chain the verification, the validator of his own proof. And then he commits to the execution trace. So essentially every step of the computation of the verification of that proof. And yeah, this is a huge commitment that he has to make. This is like roughly 4 megabytes. But if anything, if the proof is not correct, then that means in that execution trace, either it results in false, which would be like the obvious proof that it was wrong. But if it results in true, that means something in that verification trace has to be incorrect. And any challenger can read that execution trace from that on-chain commitment. And there must be some position in that trace where he agrees with the previous state. So this is the correct intermediate result. And the next result must be incorrect. Somewhere in that trace, there must be one of these pairs where like the previous one is correct and the next one is incorrect. And then he takes exactly this pair and executes that step of the computation. And he uses Bitcoin script to actually compute the correct result and shows that this is not the result that the prover claimed.
Okay, interesting.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I think Robin has a very good explanation of the BitVM2 right now. For us, I think, yeah, I can, yeah, maybe I can ask a question here. So if we, move it to BitVM3, maybe the operator need to have a huge communication between the, with the challenge, right? Maybe 50, I heard about maybe 50 gigabits, communication complexity. So
that's even good.
So, but under the assumption that's one of an honest assumption, that's if I'm a BTC holder, I want to run an operator.
There's nuance to what Yovela said. Like the garbage circuit approach does not necessarily introduce the permission verification. There is, like yesterday we talked about a particular design where we said, okay, because of the light client that we are also running, like that is already a design, part of the design of BitVM2, that we need some kind of light client to essentially get some kind of block hash on the stack. And once we have that, we can feed that block hash into the snark and then do chain introspection in the snark. But we need to run some kind of light client to get consensus about what the canonical chain is. And this light client is unfortunately the most fragile part of the entire BitVM construction. We have some designs for permissionless light clients. However, they are only resilient against, I think, 30% adversarial hash power. Also they need like periodical commitments, and they make some weird like liveness versus safety trade-offs. So they haven't been very convincing to all of the BitVM Alliance members. So some of them decided to go with a permissioned light client. If the light client is permissioned and you have a permission set of validators, then it becomes much easier because one party just claims, hey, this is the longest chain, and then some other party provides a longer proof, and this is a disproof. And then we got consensus that the first one was incorrect, and then the operator gets slashed, and it makes everything very easy. And if you make that assumption that you just use a permissioned light client, then you can also use a version of garbled circuits, which is way more efficient than the permissionless version of garbled circuits that we originally thought about. So that was what Yovela actually meant. But yeah, the communication complexity of garbled circuits is enormous. Or at least in the naive schemes, the interesting research question is actually how to make garbled circuits so compact that the communication complexity and also the proving complexity upfront, because you have to prove the correctness of the circuit. That I don't just give you some kind of gibberish. I have to prove to you that this is actually a circuit of a snark verifier. This kinds of these are the two dimensions, like the communication complexity and the proving complexity. Those are like the things that we have to optimize enough to make it practical.
Yeah, so I mean, BitVM3 already have trade-offs. I was about to ask BitVM2 trade-offs, but okay, it's already there. But what do you think about BitVM2 trade-offs? Because you are already building there. Like security trade-offs are there, trust assumptions are there for developers. Like, what do you guys feel like around that?
Oh, so yeah, I can go first. So for us, as I mentioned earlier, like we are trying to, enable like so we know that currently, for the current BitVM2, the chunk size is still large, right? It's like in the original implementation, it's like over 400 kilobytes for the chunk. So it's still, it's like larger than, what Bitcoin can accept automatically. And then we have to work with miner to process the transaction. So for us, this is also bringing like higher trust assumption to the entire setup. So that's why we further fragment the verifier to smaller than 400 kilobytes. But this actually bring another issue, like there is no way you can put that much data, on Bitcoin, right? So that's why we have to put like this data on the other chain, like for instance, like Ethereum, so that after the assert transaction, if there's anything wrong, then you can go back to Bitcoin to settle the dispute. In this case, you need to basically trust like there's nothing wrong in Ethereum. Yeah, but because I think practically it should be fine, because Ethereum, like, or the other more established blockchain, they should be the most like public secure chain. And then also for the data that we post there, it's more like a one-time disposable data, so you don't need to keep the other chain live for forever. So you only need to make sure that nothing bad happened during the challenge process. So this is like one of the trade-off that we made.
Yeah, Hanzhi.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So with the specific Bob side design related to trust assumption, we use ZK proof to make sure that there's no invalid transactions on Bob, and we use BitVM obviously for the verifying the peg out process to make sure the burn activity only happened once and there's no like wasted or fraudulent Bitcoin transaction, and then we tap into Babylon for the economic finality provider in order to ensure that there's only one history, one timeline for the Bob chain. So that's, I guess, like 3 different aspects where we address all the trust assumptions in this case.
So for us, so when we're doing the verification for BitVM, we actually made a lot of assumptions regarding the actual implementation. So there are a lot of like cryptographic operations that requires a lot of like extra efforts. So we just like make some assumptions to first verify the whole protocol. That's something we need to keep like working on to make the whole system, the whole verification out of any assumptions besides the math itself. Yeah, that's what.
I was simple summary about our optimization. The first point is we actually replace the pick out original BitVM2 with the atomic swap, because it's reduced one time of the like the Bitcoin ladder client verification. And the second point is it can allow arbitrary amount pick out. And the second point is because we are built on the decentralized sequencer network, that means we need to verify the consensus system on Bitcoin. So we still use the Bitcoin ladder client to commit the public inputs, and the public inputs is the sequencer public key set of the next 1 or 2 weeks. And yeah, the third point is we move the rewards from the Bitcoin to layer 2 system to make sure that we have some actually we think that we have some problem for the challenge to receive its bonus because the first challenge who produce the who submits the challenge transaction may not the challenge that submits the disproved transaction. So we separate those two, the incentive system and the challenge system, basically. Yeah. So there's 3 points we are doing. Yeah.
Makes sense. But like a huge amount of fragmentation is already there in BitVM2. Now we will see fragmentation in BitVM3. What's your take there, like for adoption? It will hinder the adoption, or do you feel like it will create more new use cases, more innovation will be there? What's your take?
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely concerned about that. That's also the main reason why I founded the BitVM Alliance, which is like a joint effort of multiple companies that want to build on BitVM2 and want to build BitVM bridges for their L2s. And at least we came to a consensus about the snark verifier, the heart of it all. All of these companies, they have their own bridge design. Like they all kind of like customize it for their particular needs for their specific L2. Like if you have a ZK rollup or if you have a sidechain, like you have just different needs for the bridge. But the snark verifier, which is like the heart of it all, is pretty much the same for all of the use cases. And in that BitVM Alliance, we came to the agreement that we're gonna implement that snark verifier together, and that actually succeeded. We implemented it. It's pretty much feature complete. Not pretty much. It is feature complete. The audit started last week, and it's going on for like I think 6 weeks now. And then hopefully we're gonna see them in production. And yeah, the fragmentation with like BitVM3, that is definitely a problem. Super Testnet, he was mad at us that we started working on BitVM2 before we finished BitVM1. And now before BitVM2 is really deployed, everybody gets excited about BitVM3, which is kind of like a bad state of affairs, actually. But on the other hand, the trade-offs are so much better for this garbage circuit approach that it's just justifiable that people think about moving to it. But yeah, it's definitely a challenge to keep the alliance together, or like to keep the companies aligned to like create like a common core to jointly try to tame the complexity and not to fragment the technology too much.
Yes, of course, we all want to build on BitVM, build for BitVM. Yeah. So basically for God Network, God Network basically it's try to build a Bitcoin native ZK rollup. That means we need to verify the proof, verify the states, and make sure the Bitcoin as a settlement layer of the God Network. And God Network also build a sustainable yield mechanism that's on the decentralized sequencer network, and it's also 100% EVM compatible. So that means it's trying to build the BTC5 for the BTC users and holders. So basically, that's the what we are building right now for the
Yovela?
Okay, yeah. So actually, for the gross sexting verifier, so it's largely similar, but for our own implementation, so because like as I mentioned, that we want to bring down the chunk size to smaller than 400 kilobytes, so we further fragment the verifier and do other optimization. So it's not like exactly the same. But like overall, in terms of the entire, how the challenge work, and then, all the BitVM2 protocol, we are super aligned with the design, with the alliance. And then now we're also working together on conquering the BitVM3.
So I think like with BitVM, thanks to the BitVM Alliance, Bitcoin gets a new functionality, which is verifying any computation on chain. And so besides bridge, there are a lot of like limitless possibilities, such as like token standards, like privacy solutions. So yeah, I think the applications, we are just getting started.
Yeah, I think this is a very good question. How do we address the issue or the concerns around fragmentation of technology when this is a new technology and there's a very hungry market? When there's a very hungry market, there's obviously going to be everyone want it. Like I like the fact that now the market have the appetite for more trustless ways to move Bitcoin. And obviously you will need to have different implementation when you're implementing the same thing for different chains and different ecosystem. So I can imagine this fragmentation might lead to things like slower adoption and less interoperability when it comes to like working together and actual like use cases that's being built afterward. But that's also why we have the BitVM Alliance, which is pulling everyone together and make sure that there is some kind of direction for industry-wide standard going forward. But I think healthy competition is very, very good and very important for crypto and a decentralized future for Bitcoin.
Yeah, hope, I guess, BitVM2 will achieve, like kind of with BitVM Alliance, it will achieve the end goal for Bitcoin. If you have final thoughts.
Yeah, I think it's super exciting to see so many engineers working together on these kinds of things, on scaling Bitcoin. And I actually hope BitVM will not be the end solution. I hope there will be some kind of soft forks that will make things way more easy. But yeah, for now, it's a great solution, and I'm very excited to see like all these brilliant people working together. And even if they work in like competing companies, they are very excited to like geek out together. And like in the BitVM Alliance meetings, it's always a great energy, and I'm super excited to be part of that.
Awesome. I think we can conclude the panel. Thank you so much, guys. I think that was a lovely panel, and I learned a lot. So thank you.